What is up, crew? We are officially live. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys taking time to hop on here, whether you are live or watching the recording. I'm going to hop on, do some live. We missed Tuesday, which I apologize for. Life happens, and life happened today. Trista, my sidekick, is not going to be here, unfortunately. She is actually out for a good reason. She is sourcing. So she's out crushing it at Goodwill Bins right now. Stocking up for the shop that we got for the eBay store, the Poshmark she's picking up. So it's going to be a lot of fun to keep growing that stuff this year. So how is everyone doing? I feel like it's been forever since I've hopped on here. Where's everyone watching from? Got Mr. Brent in the house. I just did a podcast with my good buddy Brent yesterday. So that's going to be dropping pretty soon. I'll be sure to link you guys up when that goes live. Got Eric in the house. We got Texas, Chicago, Virginia, New York City, Florida, Minneapolis, all over the place. Got Canada up in here. Nice. So I'm going to talk about my structure on, of course, this is all my personal take, right? My talk and structure on how I goal set to set myself up for a great month. Okay. How was everyone's February? We're officially on March 1st. So I'm curious in the comment section below, how was everyone's February? Did you do better than you thought you would? Did you do what you thought you would, or did you do less than you thought you would? I'll cover ours. I was extremely happy with February. And here's why. I'm in this mode lately where, and if you're on our Instagram, you know, I've kind of gone on mini tangents and all that stuff. I'm on this mode where I'm really starting to not give a crap about sales numbers anymore. I used to tell myself, like, I need to hit 20K a month and 30K a month to be able to do great business. And what I'm learning is it's way more about the actual net profit at the end of the day. I don't care if you do $100,000 a month in sales. If you're only doing 10K profit, that's 10%. Or you could be doing 20K per month. And if you have crazy great margins, you can still do 10K profit off 20K in sales. So at the end of the day, I'm learning to just not care about what our overall sales number is. So for Amazon, I'll share, we did about 9K in sales just on Amazon. And that's with minimal shipping. We did one shipment a week. And I'm in this weird transition I talked about on the last episode where I feel lazy because I'm not doing retail arbitrage right now. And I would be shipping a lot more items in right now if I was doing retail arbitrage. But I have had to take all of our capital that we have to work with, our cash flow, that's all being put into wholesale orders, which take time to ship here and then time to ship into Amazon. So I felt lazy, even though we've had wholesale stuff coming in and then being shipped out. And I know that it's just a patience game. I'm so impatient because I know if I hit RA, retail arbitrage, hard last month in February, I could have done 20 or 30K in that month. So on that sense, it's weird for me to mentally wrap my head around not doing retail arbitrage and having the big sales numbers that I want. But I know that transitioning into wholesale, it's just going to be a snowball effect. This month is going to be a little bit better than last month, and it's going to keep snowballing. So by the time that Q4 gets here and we're fully operational with wholesale, I know I'm going to be doing way bigger numbers. But where I was going with that is we did about 9K in sales just on Amazon last month for February, which any other time I would have been pissed about. I would have been not too happy, right? I like to personally do at least 15K minimum. And that's kind of like my cruising point. That's my maintenance level that's fairly simple to maintain. So I was slightly pissed at first, but when I opened up my Aura Repricer, the Aura is amazing because they have a dashboard that accurately tracks your actual net profit, not just your sales data. And based on the net profit, let me pull this up so I make sure I was accurate. Let me go to February, last 30 days. We did about $3,800 in net profit. That's after my fees, my shipping, my returns and refunds, my cost of goods. After everything is said and done, we did about $3,800 net profit, which I've had some 15K months where I only make $3,000. So the fact that I did less in sales, and I still made over $3,000 net profit. That shows me I'm doing a lot better with my ROI. And based on that, that's about a 90% ROI, which I am incredibly happy with because there's actually a good chunk of those sales that were wholesale. So I'm doing a few SKUs on wholesale right now that I'm getting between one of them I just caught at the right price and I'm doing crazy well with it. This is not common, but I'm doing almost 200% ROI on one wholesale product. It's not going to be a replen, which is the crappy part because this was a closeout deal, which means it was a one-time buy. I got a couple hundred units of it, but I'm doing like 200% ROI, which is fantastic. But for the average, I'm doing 90%. This is based on all the data I just gave you. It's about 90% ROI, which I'm incredibly happy with. So it's so weird. Does anyone else struggle with that? Because this whole channel is based on being transparent and raw with you guys, right? Does anyone else struggle with not having a crazy high sales number? Because it's almost like we're taught through social media and Instagram and YouTube, we're almost taught like to be successful, you have to do these massive numbers, and you really don't. It's all about your net profit. How much do you need to live on? If you do it full time like we do, it's how much do I need to live on to pay my bills and then have enough left over to reinvest into more product. So that for me was extremely eye-opening to be able to start tracking my net profit, and I just don't care about sales numbers anymore. So for me to pull 3,800 net profit off of 9K in sales, 90% ROI, I was really, really happy with. Yeah, it's all about that ROI, baby. I'm loving it. So I'm like, this year, it's just been completely changing the game for me, kind of opening up my eyes. So that's definitely a good thing. But if you guys have any questions, drop them over to the side. And then I do have kind of like the topic. It's March 1st, fresh month, fresh start. It's Friday. I love it when the first day of the month starts on a Monday because then it's like total reset. Friday, the 1st, kind of feels weird because it's like, well, we got the weekend coming up. I've got a crazy packed personal life weekend coming up, so I'm not going to be working any business stuff over the weekend. So I don't get the hoorah to the March 1st that I was hoping for. But Richard, man, thank you so much for the super chat. ROI is all that matters. Absolutely. Do we still do Goodwill hauls? Absolutely. We're not doing any thrifting or retail arbitrage as much as we were. Now that I've got wholesale kind of like up and going and I've got some extra cash again, I do have cash set aside now starting Monday. I'm going to come up with a new schedule for myself so I can go out and start thrifting in Goodwills, Ross, Walmart's, Targets, all that stuff again. I haven't touched any thrifting hardly at all. I mean, I go to a couple Goodwills just here locally because they're close. And one is right next to the gym that I go to. So I just pop in for like 10, 15 minutes. That's easy. It's not these shoes. They're actually back behind this box. But I walked into Goodwill yesterday. Holy crap. I don't know what it was, but these things, they had a little tiny bit of dirt on the bottom. So it's like they were wore one time and then they just came in one bulk donation, but there were six pair of shoes. And we're talking Flyknits was one of them. There was an Adidas version. I've never messed around with the Adidas one before. And then there weren't many comps on that one, so I'm still kind of iffy on it. But there were also some pair of Obras, and I got them for about $25 to $35 each, and they sell for at least $100. And so I got that in one shot, which I was really happy with. So that made me miss thrifting every day a lot. But I will say it's been really nice to not have to go drive around. I've had way more time to focus on other things than I ever have because I'm not driving around every single day. So that's been really nice. She loves that light box. She's going to be filming an official review video for it because everyone's asking about it, but she loves that thing. She had a lot of issue because it's actually really dark inside of the warehouse here. So we've had lighting issues, even with, we got the soft boxes and we got all that stuff. She was having a lot of lighting issues, but that thing has been awesome. It was pricey, but she thinks it's worth it. So she'll be doing a review video pretty soon. Is it possible to have 90% ROI doing RA? Absolutely. It's easier to do high ROI on online and retail arbitrage than it is in wholesale. But yeah, you can definitely do 90%. I just bought a wholesale lot off Ryan Roots. Is that your source? No, I haven't bought. We're not one of their members, so I haven't bought anything from them. And the wholesale I was referencing earlier, that was all Amazon product. That wasn't eBay. I think the VCR market's going to dry up now that the secret's out. It could. Who knows? There's tons of them out there. At least here in the whole Pacific Northwest, there's VCRs literally every single store I go into. There's everywhere. And the deal with VCRs, somebody asked what the deal is with VCRs. They stop manufacturing everything VCR, VHS tape. That's all that they're not being made anymore. So people that have these old videos on VHS, they want to get them recorded onto a DVD or digitalized. So they have to go find these VHS recorder sets. And that's why they're willing to pay for them. All right, crew, let's dive in, shall we? So, let me pull up my notes. Actually got a little bit of note action going on this time. Okay, so my topic is going to be all about not necessarily time management, but it's going to be more so about creating goals. But even more, like, we're going past just typical. Everyone here is like, set goals. You got to have a goal to go. Like, I get that, but goals mean crap. It's the daily actions that build up to reach those goals that everyone's missing out on. And I talk about this on Instagram a lot, especially if you're not following Side Hustle Pros on Instagram. That's where I do a lot more daily behind the scenes documenting. I did a little mini rant, and it's all about consistency. That's the nature of the game, right? I've been hit up so many times this last week because especially after I found all those shoes, and I found a VCR recorder unit. No, it's a DVD recorder unit. And I paid $25 for it yesterday, the same store I did the shoes out of. So in 10 minutes, I found hundreds of dollars worth of net profit in that one store. But I got hit up so many times after I did that post, and people were like, I've been outsourcing at 5 different stores and I couldn't find anything. How do you find stuff like that? And my reply is because I've been in more stores than you have. Okay. I found a lot of good stuff yesterday in that one store, but I have been in that one store hundreds of times. That's why I luck out on those every now and then trips. Okay. There's no secret to it. There's no, like, you guys know how to look up comps on eBay. And if you don't know how to, guess what? I've done, and tons of people here on YouTube have done videos on it. Look up how to look up comps. Once you know that, that's the game. Then it's all practice, and then it's practicing, estimating how much shipping is going to be on an electronic or a pair of shoes. Are you going to use first class on a lightweight item? Do you do regional boxes? That's all going to be practice, okay? And there's tons of videos on YouTube that show you exactly how to do this. So that was the nature of the game, is consistency. So when you are setting your goals for the month, I think it's great for you to have those March goals. Let's talk about March. It's March 1st right now. Let's talk about March. When you set your March goals, I'm a big fan of, you got to have some type of numbers goal. I'm always driven by numbers. So for me anymore, I don't care about the sales number. So I'm not going to tell myself like I'm doing 20K in sales this month. I don't care. I care about net profit. Okay. I'm telling myself now, no, I want 5K net profit. I don't care how I get there. I don't care if I'm selling high ticket items or low ticket items in volume. I'm going to get 5K net profit. That's my goal. Then you break it down. This is the next step that everyone misses. And it's just like when I used to do personal training. I would have these clients that come to me and they say, Chaz, I want to lose 100 pounds in the next year. Great. But then here's what happens. If you always focus on the goal, and here's where I'm going to lose a few people. That's totally fine. This is just how my mind operates. You don't have to agree with it. My mind operates in the sense of I need to have the goal as like where I'm going, the general direction, but I don't focus on the goal. So when I had clients that want to lose 100 pounds, which I've helped people do that, it was the same story. They want to lose 100 pounds. Great. If you always focus on the end goal, which in that case is losing 100 pounds, or in business, you want to make 100K in a year in sales or profit, whatever your goal is. If you always just focus on that goal, it's not keeping today accountable. And what that means is every single day you're going to wake up and you might be completely lazy, life might get busy. You don't do the work that needs to be done. And you tell yourself, it's okay. I still have a whole year to go. And if you keep procrastinating throughout January, let's use a full calendar year. If January passes and you're like, oh, it's okay, I still have 11 more months to go. And then in February, you procrastinate and you're not consistent. And then you're like, it's okay, I still have 10 months to go. And then next thing you know, it gets towards the end of the year. And if you wanted to lose 100 pounds and you only lost 20, the numbers don't lie. You weren't consistent. And that's how I'm looking at goal setting now. I'm not focusing on the big goal. I'm setting it. That's my target. And then I don't focus on it. I'm focusing on what needs to happen every day and every week. What do I need to be consistent with for me to hit that goal? Because your results, whether they're good or bad, are a direct reflection of your consistency or lack thereof. That means if you are consistently not going out and sourcing, and if you're consistently not putting in the work with the photos on eBay, the listing on eBay, if you're not shipping product into Amazon on a consistent basis, your results are not going to be consistent. That's just how it works. Those that are like, my sales are down, I'm having a really hard time, I'm struggling, I can always pinpoint it into, if you show me what your daily schedule is, I can tell you exactly what your result will be in a month, 6 months, etc. So it really is going to be a compound effect of your daily actions and habits. And that's a phenomenal book. I've talked about it many times on this channel. Darren Hardy, Compound Effect. That's what this whole thing is premised on. It's not necessarily about the goal. Too many people are setting a goal every single month. So they're saying, in March, I'm going to do 10K in sales. I'm going to lose 5 pounds. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to feel great. And I'm going to be rocking my business. Awesome. What's your game plan to get there, though? That's what people need to focus on. So if you're in that spot where you consistently set goals that you're never hitting, and this is all based on my own experience, right? I looked at areas in my life where I'm consistently not getting my goals done and not accomplishing them, and I'm pinpointing, where am I not being consistent? So when my sales have been the most down, when I'm doing the least amount of numbers in my business, that's when I'm not being consistent with the basics of the business. Sourcing items, I don't care which method, sourcing items, shipping items for Amazon. eBay, there's a little more labor involved. You have to be consistent with sourcing the items, and then you cannot let them build up in a death pile, which if you haven't cleaned out your death pile, do it. Me and my guy Ryan, this whole bottom area was all death pile, and him and I stayed late here at the office last week, got it all done, and it feels phenomenal. No more death pile. So when you buy stuff for eBay, you then have to clean it. Maybe you have to test it. You have to photo. You have to list. And then on the back end, if you're going to run promotions, you have to go back through and look at your inventory once a week to see if you need to adjust prices, keywords, etc. So those are the things that you need to be consistent with. So if you're consistently sourcing and listing and shipping, your chances are your business is going to grow. And that's something that a lot of people don't want to face, because a lot of people are looking at their business and a month goes by and they know deep down they were not consistent, but they still find a way to complain about it. They still are the ones being like, oh, my sales are really slow this month. It's like, well, you weren't consistent for the last 3 weeks, so you don't have the right to complain about it, right? And this is all based on my own experience, because I've walked those paths many times. So what I do in my own business now, number one, I set what my big targets are, okay? My goals for March. And if you need to, get a pen and paper and write this down, because it might help structure your business a little better than what you're doing right now. I tell people all the time, you can build a little bit of a hobby business by winging it. It is not hard to make $1,000 a month by winging it, okay? But if you want to grow, if you want to scale, if you want to treat it like a business, you need structure. I don't care if you don't like to-do lists, they work. I don't care if you don't like following a schedule, it works, okay? You need to get yourself structured this month. That's the game changer in what we've done with our business. Number one, set the goal for the month. And I'm a big fan of breaking it down into categories, okay? You can't just say, I want 20K a month in sales, like break it down. Are you doing Amazon and eBay? How much is coming from Amazon? How much is coming from eBay? Maybe you're doing Poshmark. Maybe you have other goals too. Okay. You've got different categories in life. You got health and wellness. Your fitness is mixed in there. You got your personal life. You got your family life. You got your friends and your hobbies and your passions. You got your spiritual life. Like you can literally break these down into columns, into categories for yourself and make a list. What are my top goals for each category in my life this month? That's where most people start, and that's where most people stop. And that's the mistake. Moving past that. Now we break it down into weeks. Okay, you got 4 weeks per month. So now you want to look at what needs to be done every week. And you can break that big goal down into a small one. So, for example, I'm just going to use my calculator right now because I am not great at math. Anyone else love reselling and numbers but doesn't like the math part so much? It might just be me. All right, so let's say your goal is $10,000 in sales this month. Divided by 4 weeks, that's $2,500 in sales per week. Okay, how much is that per day? Well, let's say you got 30 days in a month. Whoops. I just accidentally cleared off my calculator. So you need to do $333 in sales per month or per day to hit 10K in a month. And now you've got your goal, but how are you going to get there? So I'm a big fan of breaking it down even more. So how many listings, let's use eBay. It's going to be different for each business. Let's say you're working eBay. How many people are here doing just eBay or just Amazon or a combination of both? Comment below. Let me see where everyone's at. Because I want to make sure I'm hey, we got Mercari. I keep forgetting that one. I want to make sure I'm being relevant to what you guys are doing too. I'm just giving generic examples of ways that you can work your business. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of eBay, Amazon, combination of both. I owe Amazon money. I've been there. I know that feeling. All right, so I feel like a heavy dose of eBay. Like I think most people can say they do some level of eBay. So let's use eBay for example. What's your guys' average sale price that you go for? Next question. Average sale price. I'm just going to do this raw, like right here behind the scenes with you guys. If your goal is 10K in a month, what's your average sale price that you want to go for? Because some of you are going to be $10, some of you are 20, 30, 40. I want to get some averages I can play with. 20, 30, 20, 20, 40, 30. Average sale price of 51. Nice work. All right, so I feel like, can we all agree 30? I feel like 30 is about the average what I'm seeing here. All right, so we need to produce $333 in sales per day. And let's just bump that back up. I want to play with the weekly one. All right, so that was 10K divided by 4 weeks. That's $2,500 per week. Divided by, again, we're playing with per week, so 30 is good. Divided by an average sale price of 30 items. So per week, average sale price of $30. I don't know why I said per items. So $2,500, you guys following along here? $2,500 in sales per week divided by an average sale price of $30 is 83 items. Technically 0.33, I'm just going to round. 83 items, 83, 84 can get you to that mark. I know math is hard. Math sucks, which is why I don't enjoy doing it. Like I'm going to mess up so many times on this episode. I'm going to get the trolls of the math world like, technically you missed the 0.33. All right, $83 items per week at an average sale price of $30 will get you $2,500 in sales per week. And if you do that every single week, you're going to hit 10K. So if you have 83 items sold, what would you say is your sell-through rate? I was told there would be no math. I had no idea I'd be doing math stuff right now, by the way. I just want to try to break it down so maybe it would make some tangible sense, because this is what I mean by everyone likes to say, I want 10K a month, but okay, what's it take? These are the raw numbers that you have to do to get 10K. You can't just get there by wishing you can do it, okay? Everyone's wishing they can do 10K. All right, cool. Well, here's the numbers. You have to do this. This is the work that's involved, right? All right, so we got sell-through rate, 20%, 10%, 21 listings down to 17, 5. All right, let's just say out of your whole store, again, I'm just playing around with numbers here. Let's say you have a 20% sell-through rate. I'll just use 20 because that was the first one I saw up there. So you have a 20% sell-through rate. So if you need to sell 83 items, so we need to increase that by 20%. I'm sorry, 70%. No. Where am I getting 7 from? I'm mixing up my 30 and my 20 here. I'm getting myself really confused. If you have an average sell price, so we're looking at how many items you need to list is what we're looking at. So let's do, I feel like I should have had like a Google sheet all pre-planned for you. Here's what I'm going to do. This is going to be a rough draft video. I think it'd be a great video to run this type of math on a nice Google sheet and show you guys a screenshot of like the visuals, right? So I think this will be the rough draft because that's actually a really good video. It should be done. So I'm going to whip that video up for you guys too. But let's say you go out and source. Let's say you list, because we're talking about eBay. If you list 100 items, only 20 of those at a 20% sell-through rate are going to sell, right? Well, we need more than 20 to sell. So we need to take 83 times 5 times 0.2. There we go. So you need to list 415 items. And of course, this is completely generalized numbers because this does not take into account what you already have listed. This is if you were to start a brand new account, 0 listings up, you would need to create 400 listings at a 20% sell-through rate to sell through 83 items. So this is going to be completely different for each of you because some of you have hundreds of listings already up. So you're not going to need to list 400 new items. I can tell you that right now. This is just generalized numbers to give you guys examples. So are we all on the same page there? The point of doing a little math thing for you is to show you need to break it down. Okay. Some of you have, 415 there. So some of you have a $10 sell-through, or I'm sorry, a $10 sell price, average sale. So you need to do the math on that. If you're selling items for $10 and you want to make X amount of dollars per month in sales, how many listings do you need to create every single week to get there? Once you have your weekly goals set and your activities that need to be done, then you break it down per day. This is where you start to look at a to-do list. I like to use a combination of whiteboards. I also have a little notepad on my second screen here that I constantly have my to-do list on. So I break stuff down into how much do I need to list every day or by the end of the week, because some of you are going to take some days off, totally fine. But at the end of the week, I need to have these numbers down. And when you start to break down the numbers is when you start to really look at your business. Because when we started doing 10K a month and 20K a month, 30K a month, the months that we've done those numbers, and we've done 50K in a month before, when we've done those numbers, it's because I was following some structure. I knew how much I needed to list, how many items I needed to ship into Amazon. I knew how much I needed to do. I wasn't just saying, wow, 50K in a month would be really cool, and then trying to just wing it and hope it happens. That's not what happens. And for those of you that have the $30, the $40, the $50 sell price, you're not going to have to do as much work as somebody who's selling $10 items, right? They're going to be listing and shipping way more items than you are. So that's why you also need to look at what are your average sale price goals. Some of your items are going to sell for $100. Some of them are going to sell for 10, right? So you have to kind of know that within your business. I can't sit here and tell you which one's best. They're all great. There's $1 million sellers that sell $10 items and people that sell $500 items. There's $1 million sellers in every one of those categories. You have to pick and choose which one you want to be. So start with the big goal first. That's your end of the month goal. Break that down into your weekly priorities. How many listings need to go up? How many items do I need to ship to Amazon? You can break this down into whatever you need to, right? If you got health and fitness on there, you should be having how many workouts do I need to do each week? How many times do I need to meal prep? You break it down into weekly priorities. And then from there, you have to have some type of daily to-do list or daily schedule that you follow. So I don't care if you are having some type of power hour first thing in the morning. You wake up, pound some water, get your health on, go to the gym, feel good, and then you take one solid hour at a coffee shop and all you do is list. Like, have some type of routine for yourself because it helps out tremendously. And I'm curious too, comment. How many of you follow some type of routine for yourself, whether it's first thing in the morning, midday, at night? And this is going to apply specifically for those of you that have a full-time job, and especially if you've got the family life on top of that. You got the kids at home, all that needs attention, right? So you have to be very, very intentional with your time that you're putting into your business. Sometimes you're going to have to wake up early and work before you go to your job. Sometimes you're going to be working on your business when you're on your lunch break. I know plenty of people that make a great income from flipping stuff on eBay, and they only source on their lunch break every day. So you've got to squeeze in those chunks of your business time into where it's going to fit with your family life, your job, all that stuff you have to think about too. So you have to be very intentional with where your time is going. So I'm curious, for those of you that have a full-time job and family life, like when do you work? What's your schedule look like? Some of you are night owls. Some of you wake up at 3 a.m. and work on it. I know we got a bunch of crazy ones in here. There we go. I work my schedule around my 1-year-old grandson. I keep 3 days a week. Yeah, you guys have to follow some type of structure for yourselves. Work 50 to 60 hours a week, plus have 2 kids under 5. I work resell from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's what I'm talking about. And that's something that's part of the sacrifice, right? You're going to be putting in a lot of late nights or early mornings in the beginning phases, especially when you have a full-time job. The goal, if you want to do reselling full-time, here's one of my side tips. When I quit my job, it was not to go into reselling. A lot of people misconstrue our story. I don't know where people think that I started reselling and then I quit my job. That's not how it worked out. I've never once said that, so I don't know why people think it. My backstory is I was a full-time massage therapist. That was my career. And then, hold on, I've got my landlord texting me right now. All right. Priorities, right? He wanted to know if I have 2 extra pallets, which I literally have 2 extra pallets right there. It's perfect. So my quick backstory for those of you who may be new to the channel or you don't know my backstory, I was a full-time massage therapist. And for me to quit my job, I thought I had to make a full-time income on my side hustle, which at the time was doing online health and fitness coaching. I thought I had to do that full-time and make a great killing to quit my job. And it's not like a switch or I quit my job and then I go full-time for myself. That's not how it worked out. I love the idea of what if I transition into it? So instead of working 6 days a week at my job and then working that 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. grind on my business, I thought, well, if I can make an extra $300 a month on my business, that can afford me to take 1 day off per week from my job. So then I was in a fortunate position with my job that I was able to slowly transition out Some of you may not have that option. So you have to figure out what's going to work for you. This is what I did for me. So I started working 5 days a week instead of 6. Okay. And these were 10 to 12 hour days. I was part of the grind just like everyone else. So then I cut back and I started doing 5 days a week. So I had one full day to work on my business now. And when my business started making $500 a month, I was able to go down to 3 days a week, and I went all in. And I not only built an online fitness business out of it, I actually went to downtown right here in McMinnville, and I was renting space out of a building here, and I was running my own massage clients. So I then had my own massage therapy practice, and I was able to pursue my self-employment grind even more full-time while still working 3 days a week at my regular job. And I did that for about 2 years. And I did nothing else but just focus on building my business as a self-employed practitioner, whatever you want to call it. And so when I finally was able to hit that teetering point where I was between the two, I was just capped on my time and I had to make that decision. I finally quit the job. That was July 14th, 2014. And I will never forget the day I walked out of that building. I've not been back since. So I've been self-employed for, this will be 5 years, 2019. And that's how I got started. And so if you're in that position, it's not necessarily about making enough with your reselling business to then fully quit your job and transition over. If you have the chance, see if you can work one less day per week. If you have the opportunity, I know some people won't, but if you do, it's a great way to transition out because you kind of get to test your limits a little bit. Like, how much can I really make if I dedicate 2 full days just to my reselling business? And if you can prove that you can stay consistent with those sales because of those 2 days, then you might be able to transition out even more and put in 3 days and 4 days. And then you can transition into a full-time gig. Of course, when we're talking about going from a full-time job to full-time reselling, of course, you've got to make sure you have very consistent cash flow because it's not going to be a safety net like you're used to. Here's the thing about self-employment. There's a crap ton of money to be made, but it's never 100% secure. And neither is a job, to be quite honest, right? I've known plenty of people that had jobs that they thought were so secure and they had them for 20, 30, 40 years. And then out of nowhere, something happens, a company goes under, they bring in fresh new people, and all of a sudden they're out of a job. That safe and secure every 2-week paycheck is no longer there, and they have nothing to fall back onto. Reselling, being self-employed, I don't care what business you do, but having your own side hustle can act as a cushion if something like that happens. And I've known people too where something like that unfortunately does happen, and it forces them to build their side hustle into a full-time business. And that's how they become successful because they had no other option, no other choice. And that's what happens sometimes. All right, let me scroll through. Do we got any questions? I'm curious to see what your guys' schedules and how you stay on track is. I work 25 hours a day, uphill both ways. I've definitely been on that grind. There you go. Now you can focus on reselling, have investment properties. My brain hurts. I don't want to do more numbers. Do you guys want to do more numbers? I mean, if it helps, I don't mind using some more scenarios for you guys. I just think a lot of people get stuck on, they just say they want to do, they just throw out random numbers. It feels like they just say they want to do 10K a month or 20K a month. And then I ask how, and they have zero idea of how they're going to do that. You really have got to break it down. It comes down to getting past the goal setting. Okay. That's why I did the thumbnail, like goal setting that works is setting the goal. And then even more important than the goal is the action plan to get there. And it comes down to your daily consistency. Like you show me your daily schedule and I can probably tell you what your result will be at the end of the month. It's good for the brain. Awesome. We got someone who's been taking notes. I'm shocked. I'm not a numbers or a math person. I just know the basics of what I need to do each day to get stuff done. And I'm becoming a huge fan of that. And especially like I talked about earlier, like when you start to understand that profit is more important than any sales number you ever see, that's where it becomes a game changer. Like you see tons of screenshots of sales numbers floating around Instagram. You don't see many people talking about their net profit, because some people that may be doing hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in reselling may not be pulling that much profit compared to what, because here's the thing. It's sexy to say I made 100K this month. It's not sexy to say, but yeah, I took home like 15. That's not fun to post about. But net profit is where it's at. So when you can break that down and stop focusing on that sales number, I'm telling you, when you start focusing on net profit, it's a game changer. What I think of Craigslist Hunter? I love Craigslist Hunter. I've been watching. He was one of the first ones I even started watching. It was him and Steve Rakin, the two YouTube OGs. I love Pete's setup. I love watching, because we have a little clothing boutique shop, but I would love for that to be a thrift store, actually, because I love watching Pete's stuff, and I love his setup. It's fantastic. It's so smart too. It's such a great way to diversify. Do we do free shipping? We've always done free shipping, but on the electronics account, I'm actually going to be switching over and testing out paid shipping for that stuff. I feel like electronics people don't mind paying for shipping. And so I'm going to be switching over and testing that out. Is selling a new video game from places like Walmart or Target safe for Amazon, or list those on eBay, just getting into RA? Yeah, you can do them. I will say there's certain ones that you'll get hit with IP claims or cease and desist letters. What was started with a B? What was that? Somebody would know. There's a company that starts with a B that's been sending out cease and desist. I forget what they were. Because they say, may not be true, but they say if you buy it retail and then resell it online as a third party seller, the warranty is not going to be authorized. So that's where you kind of have to play it safe. But if you're nervous about it, flip it on eBay. New games do fine on eBay, especially retro stuff. Yeah, that was it. Bethesda. Yeah, those guys are hammering. Those guys are hammering the cease and desist letters right now. Yes, that was it. Yeah, so these guys do Skyrim. They do Fallout. Days Within Us, I think, is the other one. They do just a handful of games, and those guys have been hitting sellers pretty hard with cease and desist. I had like 3 units in stock. They hit me with the cease and desist letter. I'm like, whatever. So I dropped the price, sold them, I'm out. Is it normal for buyers not to leave feedback only 1 out of 6? Is that for Amazon or eBay? If it's for Amazon, 1 out of 6 is actually great. If it's for eBay, that's not too. I mean, I don't know what the average is. Somebody probably does. But eBay thrives, always has thrived on feedback. Like, you buy something and it's just mutual respect. Everyone leaves feedback for each other. And Amazon, man, it's you got to sell a couple thousand items just to get a handful of feedback on Amazon. It's crazy. They screwed up Fallout 76. That's eBay for me, 1 out of 6. I mean, that could be. I've never sat down and looked at what the averages are, so I'm not 100%. Someone in here who's been doing eBay way longer than I have probably can answer that for you, but 1 out of 6 seems decent. Yeah, thank you notes, I think, do really well. So if you print off those little thank you cards, we use canva.com, canva.com. They have a free version, and you can just make a very basic, you don't need fancy, just a very basic template for a thank you card. Print those off, toss them in. Those definitely help out. 50% on eBay is normal. How late am I working tonight? Probably, I'm going to wrap up here in about 10 minutes. So I'm thinking about maybe 7:30. I've got 3 videos to shoot, and then I'm done. It's been a really good day. The 3 videos I'm shooting are the next 3 inside of the FBA for Beginner series. And I think what I'm going to do is Saturday, Sunday, well, tomorrow I'm pumped. I get to take my 4-year-old to a monster truck show for the first time. So I'm pumped for that. So my day is booked tomorrow. Sunday, we're out of town. So Monday, I'm gonna try to set a lofty goal to shoot like 20 videos on Monday, all in that series, so that they're going to be released every day of the week. My editor is about to have a nice workload next week. Angela's got 1 out of 7 on feedback. Did you go get Funkos this morning at Target? I did not. I've not done retail arbitrage. Is not in my forecast right now. Like literally every dime that we get that goes into our from our business, every extra dime I can spare right now is just being conserved and then put into wholesale order. And then we get Amazon payouts and then it's conserved, put into wholesale order. So until I create that larger snowball, we're pretty tight on capital for the extra retail stuff. Because here's the thing, like I would be doing a lot more retail arbitrage right now if I lived closer to retail stores. A lot of people don't know that I have to drive an hour to go get or really 45 minutes. I have to drive 45 minutes to my nearest Target. So it's not worth my time to spend an hour and a half minimum driving to go hit 1 or 2 stores every day. It's not worth my time. So we're in the phase of just getting wholesale orders in as much as we can. Every extra dime that we have for wholesale is getting put into that. And then once that snowball is going and I can start taking, $1,000 a week and go out and do retail again, then I'll start hitting it a little bit heavier. But yeah, for me to go spend, 2 or 3 hours trying to hunt down some Funkos this morning to maybe make $100, I've got better stuff I could be doing with my time. Wholesale is when you are bypassing retail stores and you're ordering from distributors and manufacturers. And the nice part with that is you may, on some of these things, you may be taking smaller ROI, closer like, 20, 30% range, but you're able to order in bulk. So you're ordering multiples of each thing. And it's been great. Earplugs. Yes. I got him a little toddler monster truck headset. I'm so excited. I've never actually been to a monster truck show before, so I'm really pumped. Thank you for the FBA videos. You are welcome. Are you guys liking those so far? We've got 4 of them up. It's a lot of work to get those things done, guys. Like because I could have easily filmed it right here on my webcam, but I'm trying to do like a professional grade. Like I got the camera set up, the lens, the blurred background, the visuals on the screen. I'm trying to make everything legit for you. So it's a lot of work that goes into it. And actually the work on my part is the production, the filming. The editing is all done by my man, Brian, who's one of my editors, and he's up in Seattle. So he's the one that puts all the visuals up on the board. So props to him because he's doing a lot of the legwork on that. And did I mention we're not charging a dime for any of them? Pretty legit. Yeah, so we've got 4 of those made. I took all last week off because I've had way too much going on for me to spend extra time filming. And I start filming again on Monday. Or I'm sorry, the next 3 episodes are being recorded tonight, edited over the weekend. Monday, I'm going to do a big recording day, and then we should be right back on track with 1 video per day after that. Number 5 should be out, I'd say Tuesday at the latest. I'll get it recorded tonight, give my editor over the weekend to get it done. Monday, final touches, because we go back and forth between a rough draft, where I want visuals at, music selection, all that kind of stuff goes into it. So Monday will be final draft work, and then hopefully Tuesday morning we'll have it uploaded. We haven't even gotten to the fun topics yet. I feel like the first 4 episodes were all the boring stuff, right? You got to get your mindset right. That's a fun one. But then it's like, okay, we got to talk about the business structure. Because here's the thing, like the target for the beginning videos is somebody who just doesn't have an account or is brand new to it and doesn't know what they're doing. So I need to make sure everyone's on the same page as far as I'm not going to sit here and preach sales tax to you. You got to hire a CPA for that. That's just part of the ball game. I want to make sure your mindset's right. We're on the same page. And then we can talk about the fun stuff, which is going to be retail arbitrage, OA. We can talk about all the sourcing stuff. I'm going to give you guys some tips and strategies based on what I do for retail and online arbitrage. And now that we're getting into wholesale, I'm by no means an expert, but I can at least share the little bit that we've done so far. Do you plan on doing wholesale toys for Q4? Absolutely. Especially because every year there's going to be more and more restrictions, and there's going to be more and more IP claims. Okay. So anyone who does retail arbitrage or OA, online arbitrage, for toys in Q4, the toy brands are getting more strict every year. So if I'm going wholesale, I don't have to worry about that. I mean, you with wholesale, depending on who you're working with, you're still going to get IP claims. I know plenty of people that deal with IP claims, even with wholesale products. So it's just part of the game, but the risk is a lot lower. So I'm definitely excited for that. But yeah, we're going to start planning probably in August, like late July into August is when we have to start planning for Q4 wholesale stuff, because you got to have lead time on your orders and whatnot. Yeah. And you've got to have capital too. You got to have at least, like, some of those brands are 50 to 100K, like Eric said. Need to figure out how to get an LLC in my state. Go to your .gov website. That's where you can find all the info that you need. You can go through stuff like LegalZoom or your CPA can do it for you too, but they're going to charge. And I know in our state, it was $100. I think it was $100. It was $100 or $150 to get an LLC done. And it literally is like 3 pages, fill out your information about the business, and then click, pay, and then you're done. So it's super easy here in Oregon. Every state is different, which is why everyone's always like, how do I do this? How do I get a reseller's permit? How do I get my LLC done? I don't live in your state. I don't know. What's up, Jenna? Thanks for tuning in, catching your first live. Yeah, it's the important stuff. It's not the fun stuff with the first 4 episodes of the FBA. I needed to lay down the ground floor first, right? We're building a home together here. We got to start with the foundation first. That's solid. So now we can start to do the fun stuff, which is, building the walls and the paintings and all that. What minimum capital would you suggest to get started with into wholesaling? Love the FBA videos, by the way. Thanks for tuning in and supporting the videos. Minimum for wholesale. I mean, some companies you can start with a couple $100, right? Every company is going to have what they call an MOQ, minimum order quantity. Sometimes, most of the time, it's going to be a dollar amount. Sometimes it's going to be a unit amount. So they might want you to order, I don't know, a minimum of $250 or a minimum of like 10 cases. So it kind of just depends who you're working with. I tell people the more you have to start with, the better you're going to do. I mean, if you're working with the right stuff. But if you go to a wholesale company, I talked about this in the FBA videos. If you go to a wholesale, or if you go to a company for wholesale and you tell them like, yeah, I've got cash ready for an order, what's your minimum order? And you can ask them, what's your MOQ? And they might say $250, 500, 5,000. And if you can tell them like, well, we're looking to do some business with you and we're looking to spend about $5,000 a month on wholesale product through this company, what kind of discount can we expect on our first order? That's kind of verbiage that you use with these guys. Some of them are going to say nope. And then other ones are going to be like, okay, great. We'll give you an extra 20% discount on your first order. And if you're able to meet these, minimums, if you're able to spend $5,000 a month, there's a tier system on discounts you can get with some of these. So $5,000 is going to look a lot better in a wholesaler's eyes than 500. So can you start with a low amount? Yes. It's going to take you longer to scale it though. And you're probably not going to get as great of a discount as if, you would with 5K. It's just like, it's the same thing with private label. There's people that go and buy private label stuff for $250 and they make it work and they make a killing on it. But you've got other people that they won't even touch private label unless they have 10 grand to start with. And typically the more cash you have in this business, because we're in a buying and selling business, you've got to have capital. You got to have access to this. So the more you have access to, typically the quicker you can scale this thing. All right, we got a couple minutes left. So any last minute questions, I am more than happy to answer. LLC in New Mexico is $50. California is $800. Holy crap. That's insane. Yeah, that's the thing, guys. That's why none of us YouTubers or influencers, we can't talk about this stuff because it's so different state to state. And we're not certified to give out legal advice. So we can't. That's why every time you ask a question about taxes, we're always like, talk to your CPA. I don't know. I do what my CPA tells me to do. You need to do what yours tells you to do. Went to a dollar store, saw Aussie hair products at 50% off, got excited until I scanned them and realized I'm gated. That's part of the ballgame, unfortunately. So always look at eBay on stuff that you're restricted on. Too many people are missing out on money because they scan it, it's restricted, they put it back on the shelf, and they walk away with the tail between their legs. If you looked at eBay, take the extra 10 seconds to look up sold comps on eBay, you might find you can still make money there. It's more labor. You got to take the photos, create the listings, ship it to the customer. It's more labor, but if you can still make money, you can still make money. And then if you want to go through the process of getting ungated, you have to find a distributor. If you can't get auto approved, you have to find a distributor, use that invoice, and then apply to get ungated in that brand. Yeah, there you go. LLC University on YouTube. Oh, that's perfect. I should go check that out. They got videos that show you all the state requirements. That's great. Yeah, and here's the thing. Just because some of us YouTubers are not certified CPAs and we cannot give you legal advice or like explain some certain things doesn't mean there's not tons of advice being given on other YouTube channels that are geared around legal and law and LLC and all that. There's tons of great ones out there. Hey, there you go. 5K a month and I can quit my job. Let's go, team. See, right, you know your number. It's 5K a month, right? I'm assuming that means profit. So now you just have to reverse engineer that into, okay, how many items do I need to ship into Amazon every week, or how many listings do I need to do? Did you discuss to-do lists, or did I miss somehow? I was out for 5 minutes. We didn't cover too much on to-do lists. It's pretty basic, guys. Here's a couple ways you can do it. One, the night before, you sit down and tell yourself, like, I'm going to do these things. Because here's the thing. How many people have ever said, like, I'm going to get up and run in the morning, and then the morning gets here and you don't get up and run? Right? I've done that many, many times. It's easy to do that with your business too. Or like sometimes I get really pumped up about a certain project. I write it down on my to-do list for the next day, and the next day gets here and all of a sudden my motivation's gone. I'm like, I don't really want to work on that today. Like, your to-do list just has to get done. So that's one way to do it, is the night before you can make your list for the next day. I used to do that, but I actually found that I'm learning to trust, or not trust. I'm learning to work with my instincts a little bit more. And I'm learning that I'm working more on things that inspire me day to day, because some days I just don't want to touch anything social media. I don't want to touch my YouTube channel. I don't want to touch Instagram. I don't want to document. Sometimes I just need me time, right? In those days, I don't work anything social media. I'm not in my inbox. I've gone weeks at a time without touching my inbox. And that's just because there's no inspiration at that time. But when I'm not on social media because I don't feel like doing social media stuff, I might be super inspired to take half a day and just hammer through some Amazon stuff or eBay. So I kind of go wherever I'm most inspired by. And that's how I'm running my business now. And I find that I'm getting a lot more joy out of my day. So when I get to the office first thing in the morning, I sit down and I've got my whiteboard here that has all my goals for the week, right? So here's my exact process. I write down every Sunday night. Trista and I go out to like it's a combination. It's a business partner meeting, and then it's also date night. So on the business section, we're going to cover what our goals are for the upcoming week. Those get put on my whiteboard. And then I have a to-do list on my screen, on my second screen here. It's always open. And I have a to-do list day by day. And so when I get here first thing in the morning, I'm reviewing what I need to get done during the week. And then I'm plugging that in on my to-do list per day is how that works out. So some days I'm all Amazon. Some days I'm all eBay. Some days I'm outsourcing all day. I'm gone for 10 hours. And then other days I'm all into social media. I'll spend 5 hours answering Instagram messages. I'll spend another 2 hours going through YouTube comments. And that's kind of how yesterday was. I went through and I probably spent 6 hours just on social media. And I kind of, it may not be the most efficient, but I bounce around depending on where I'm most inspired, because I get more joy that way. I'm not about the grind anymore when it's just going to like wear you down, stress you out, and then you hit this wall. Like I used to do that so much. I'm just not about that anymore. What about trademarking your company name? I mean, if you want to. It's actually funny you brought that up. I have to do a video on it anyway, so I might as well give you guys a sneak peek. We just ran into that. I should have trademarked Side Hustle Pro a long time ago, and someone beat me to it, and now we have to change our name. So that's a legit thing. So, I mean, if it's a company name that you are looking to build long-term, I would, based on my experience right now, I'm probably going to trademark the shit out of anything that I touch now. What are the better sources for retail arbitrage right now? I have not been doing any RA, so I don't know what the best stores are doing right now. Each of them kind of go through waves. Like right now, I did take my buddy out, Ashish. I took him out to do some sourcing at Ross, and Ross shoes, that was all from one store or two stores. That was from two stores right there. So Ross yesterday was really well. And then there's actually right there, that pair, probably going to sell for about $200, like crazy shoes. So it depends on the season. I'm not up to date on what Walmarts are clearancing out or Targets. I just have not been in the RA game for at least a month. So I really can't answer that question right now, but it all comes down to what I talked about earlier, which is consistency. When you go into the same stores consistently multiple times a week, you know exactly what's being clearanced out. You see when fresh stuff hits. You get to know the managers. You can have them tell you when the next wave of clearance stuff is coming. So consistency is the game. All right, guys, I got 2 more minutes, and then I got to record some videos for you. Quick question. How do you pack items together? I mean, like a 2-pack tablecloths, just stick in a random bag, slap the sticker on the outside. For Amazon or for eBay? eBay is pretty simple. Just, 2 of them are going to be in the photo, and it's a 2-pack listing. And then when it sells, you ship them out together. If you're doing Amazon, pretty much the same process. There's going to be a 2-pack listing, for example. And I'm assuming you're talking about the same. Is it the same item or 2 different items? Amazon? Okay. So if you're creating your own listing, or if you're piggybacking on someone else's listing, is also going to play a role in what you do. Because if you're creating your own listing, technically you would need a UPC for that, which you can go pay hundreds of dollars to get done, or you can do something called a GTIN exemption, and that's a term to look up, and you can see how to do that. And that exempts you for that listing of needing its own UPC. And then, yeah, you basically just polybag them together. I toss 2 things in a polybag because I do the same thing with groceries. Toss them together in a polybag, and then polybag it. And then on there, you want to put a label that says sold as set, do not ship. You can do either way, or you could say ready to ship, that kind of stuff. And that's it. Then you send it into Amazon, put your item. Of course, your item label goes on there too. And Amazon recognizes that as a 2-pack. Hello from California. Love all the info that you give. Nice new place. I started this myself a month ago. $4,200 first month. Thank you for all the advice. That is amazing. Nice work. I love those stories of people that watch a video or a couple videos. Some of you binge watch. I know you do. We appreciate it. I love when people watch the videos and then message back like, hey, we just took the advice and we crushed it. Those are the best. Because there's a lot of people that unfortunately just binge watch videos and that's all they do, and they don't go out and do it for themselves. It's so much fun to do. Yeah, polybags have to have the suffocation warning on them if it's over a 5-inch opening. But I mean, most of your polybags are going to have suffocation labels on them. Are outlet stores any good for retail arbitrage? Heck yes. Absolutely. I flip stuff out of Nikes and Columbias and Vans and all kinds of outlet stores. Usually you have to catch them when they're doing their deal. So like Nike, for example, and before I'd start getting the comments like, well, I'm restricted. There's people that sell Nike from outlets on platforms like eBay and Mercari and Poshmark and all that stuff. So don't limit yourself to just Amazon. Nike will typically run a sale every weekend. Some weekends they don't. Most weekends they do. And it's usually going to be 20% off the back wall, which is called the hash wall. That's where all the clearance stuff is. So you go in there, you got your phone. You can either, if you're ungated on Amazon, scan with your Amazon app, or with eBay, Mercari, whatever, you go in there, start looking up those style numbers, and you see if you can buy it for 30 and sell it for 80 and make a profit. And it's just a numbers game. It's repetition. That's why so many people give up, is because they go into a store and it's repetitive and they keep not finding anything and they get discouraged. And then they're like, those YouTubers make it look so easy. Like, no, we've been in thousands of stores and scanned thousands of items. That's why we can find the good stuff. You can't go into 5 stores or 20 stores and expect to find a bunch of great stuff. When you've gone into hundreds of stores, that's when you can talk. That's when you can start to find some stuff. All right, crew, we're at our time. As always, much, much appreciated for everyone that took time to watch this video, whether you are live or you watch the recording. Quick plug, it's going to be a few months, but quick plug, if anyone, I didn't talk much about the accountability phase of this, but I am going to do some more videos based around accountability, because I think accountability is the missing link in a lot of people's business. Because again, a lot of people set the goal, but they don't have accountability in place to help them stay on track. I am working on an accountability program, and this thing's going to be legit. It's going to be a few months until it's launched. I have a test group. Today was day 1. I have a test group going through it right now, and this thing's going to be amazing. So if you want to be in the accountability program, you want to be one of the first ones notified, just send me an email, chaz@sidehustlepros.com. It is in the description below. Shoot me an email and just say accountability in the title, and let me know that you are interested in the accountability program. It's probably realistically going to be 3 months until launch, but it's going to be legit. So I'm really, really pumped for it. But aside from that, peace out, crew. Smash that like button. We'll see you next time.